Hey everybody, Tim Man here. Welcome back to the Hardcore Showcase. Today I'm doing a video on the gig that changed my life. Now the last video, if you watched it, it was my first hardcore gig. Some people say it's not hardcore, it's a bit of metal and stuff like that, whatever. Either way, this gig changed my life. So I'd already seen Pantera, I'd seen Sepultura, I'd seen that sort of stuff, Megadeth, stuff like that, and then I got into like hardcore stuff. Saw Biohazard, saw Downset, saw Dog Eat Dog, and then I got into Sick of It All, and of course they were playing. And the gig in question is this one right here, Sick of It All, CIV and H2O, and I actually do have the ticket from said gig because I back then I forgot a book. I keep all my tickets. You don't get tickets anymore. It's all on your phone, isn't it? This is nostalgia. This is memory galore. Look at that. So there you go. This was in the Manchester Academy. Basically, it's called Manchester Academy 3 now, but back in the day it was the Hop and Grape. It was the little room upstairs, and Sick of It All were playing there, and my God, it was amazing. Look at that. Yeah? Look at the date. 12th of July, 1995. And the price, £7. You see, like to those days again. I keep saying that, but yeah, £7. Amazing. So yeah, so this gig in question, right? I just got into Sick of It All pretty much big time. Yeah, I bought Scratch, I bought Just Look Around, and then I got Blood, Sweat, No Tears, and even got their first EP on CD. I'd gone deep into Sick of It All, and of course they were playing, so it was like, oh my God! And I've actually got a picture my mate Will took in his room just before we left to go and see Sick of It All, and this is the picture now. Now I've got hair, and I've got my eyebrow pierced. Oh, what's going on, man? 90s. What a crazy time. I think it was channeling my Billy from Biohazard with an eyebrow ring. Don't ask me why. It's long gone. But that picture was me right before we left. I was so excited. You can see the joy in my face. I was so excited. So we get there, and I meet John O'Neill. Now, he was in a band from Belfast called Consume. Great band. I'll put a link to their EP down below. Check them out. They were such a good band. And John actually went and ended up being the drummer for Enzin, which is amazing because he's on one of my favourite Enzin records, which is so cool. So I'm there, and we're waiting for the bands to come on, and John, never met John before, and he comes over and we're chatting to him, and he chats to me, and he's dead friendly. And he's like, have you heard of these bands before, the support bands? I was like, no. He goes, oh, well, H2O, you'd like them. They're melodic and stuff like that. And he goes, have you heard of Gorilla Biscuits? I'm like, nope, I've never heard of them. He goes, oh, well, you'll like CIV. CIV is a more melodic version of Gorilla Biscuits. And I'm like, all right, okay, cool. I don't know what he's on about. Anyway, H2O comes on, right? And it's pre this album. This is the first album on. This one's on Blackout, but this is the Bridge 9 reissue with the embossed cover. I haven't got the original, too expensive. So H2O come on, and instantly I'm like, wow, melodic, love it, it's great. Now it's pre this lineup, you know. What's his name? Todd's not in the band then. It's just the four of them. Okay, so you got Eric Rice, Rusty, Toby, and Todd there, yeah. And if I remember correctly, Rusty, he's got dark hair there, but he had bleached blonde hair. Yeah, this is way back. And I remember H2O being really melodic, really catchy, really fun. They seemed really heavy at the time. It's weird to think about it now because they're really not, but you know what I mean? They were really kind of heavy hardcore. I don't know why. It's 1995, you know what I mean? And yeah, they were really good. I do remember the singer walking past me, and he had a shaved head, and I always remember this, he had a Sick of It All dragon on the back of his head, like the lower part of his head. I was like, whoa. Of course it was Toby, wasn't it? At the time I was like, oh my God, he's got a Sick of It All dragon, not knowing who he was, and he was a roadie before that and stuff like that. So H2O came on. They were great. I absolutely loved them. Followed H2O ever since. Like I say, saw them before they dropped this album, so it was nice to see them way before. I don't even know if they played My Love Is Real. They possibly could have. I don't know for 100% sure. I have tried to find a set list online, and it's inaccurate. You know, it's putting songs in there that they hadn't even released yet. you know, for Sick of It All. So it's like, nah, it's not real. Anyway, yeah, H2O were great. Straight down the melodic path, and I was like, I love these. I'm gonna follow these. Gonna keep going with these guys, and yeah, pretty much done that. So there you go. So H2O were first up, and they blew me away for starters. So there you go. And then second up, wow, I watched from the side of the stage. CIV, Set Your Goals. Now, John had said, have you heard of Gorilla Biscuits? No. Well, you'll like CIV, they're more melodic. My God, were they? They straight away, I think they came on with Set Your Goals. I mean, what an opener. You know what I mean? Great. So I'm at this point, I've not long been playing drums, 1995. Been playing them for about 3 or 4 years, and I'm really heavily into the drums now. And I'm at the side of the stage, and I think I'm stood with Pete, and I call him Lou. And he's like, don't worry about it. And I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? You know what I mean? I'm only a kid myself. And we're watching Sammy play. And I remember, because he's left-handed, it's weird seeing a left-handed drummer play. He plays, you know, the kick goes the other way and stuff like that. And does it even go the other way, or does he go open-handed? I can't remember. I think he plays a right-handed kick, but plays open-handed. Or the toms the other way. Honestly can't remember. And I'm watching Sammy and me, and I remember looking to Pete, and Pete's going, look at him. And I'm like, I know, look at him. And hell of a good. They were great. What stood out to me was that it was the way they were dressed. They're basically dressed how they are there. They wore like shirts and suits, and they had the big creeper shoes and stuff like that. Eye opener in 1995. It was like, wow, who are these guys? You know, CIV was there, he had a bald head, and it was magical. And maybe this had come out, I'm not sure, but I literally got it soon after. Soon after was like, I need this, and this has been like in my top 10 ever since. Absolutely mind blowing. I can remember, Can't Wait 1 Minute More, especially not because it became the single, but I just remember that one, that one especially, and Set Your Goals, because it's so catchy. Amazing, absolutely amazing. Yeah, such a good set. It really was. It was so good. But yeah, man, CIV, Set Your Goals, superb stuff. And then it was time for Sick of It All, and of course, not long been released. It was Scratch the Surface. Now, like I say, got into them pretty heavy. Listened to this album especially, and was absolutely loving it, because it was their Scratch sort of tour. They were playing lots of songs off this. No Cure, Insurrection. I know they played Consume, Who Sets the Rules, Step Down, obviously. They did Maladjusted, I know that for a fact. They even played Borstal Breakout from the Sham 69, the cover that they do on the single. They actually played it, because I remember, because I was at the front and I was singing along, and there was a guy at the side of the stage, could have been a part of the crew, or oh God, I can't remember, but we were singing it. You know, we were like looking at each other, and we were pointing and singing the words to each other. You know, I'm coming back for you, and we were doing it. And then at the end of the song, I remember literally reaching over, shaking this guy's hand, and it was like, yes! Weird little tiny memories, but Sick of It All were just incredible, because it's the first time I'd seen them. Super energetic, as Sick of It All are. It was mind blowing. You know, it was so long ago. You know, Pete only had his tiny little like, not as mowy, but you know what I mean. He had his little hair. I think Lou even still had his rat's tail. I don't know. Maybe, possibly, 95 possibly did. Wow, yeah, absolutely amazing. I think they even played Straight Ahead as well. They did the cover of Straight Ahead, and God, this, and do you know what? This gig changed my life. Put me right on the hardcore path. Then still love my metal. Always have done. Always will. You know, but I was down the hardcore route then. I was there. I was like, who else is there? You know, seeing Sick of It All, CIV, H2O, it just opened my mind up to New York hardcore. And then AF, Madball, it just spiraled into loads of bands. And I think, even though I said in my last video that Biohazard was my first hardcore gig, this actual gig here in Manchester was just an absolute eye-opener. And it put me, like I said, on the path. Wow. And I'm still on that path right now. Absolutely still on that path, 100%. And amazingly, that night, after Sick of It All had finished playing and stuff like that, there were people outside selling bootleg shirts. And I think my mate Will may have even bought one. I don't know. I'm sure he had a Sick of It All bootleg shirt. It was the front cover of that, but it was a really really crap version, and I think it was a bootleg. Anyway, only years later did I find out that Sick of It All and the guys in H2O and even CIV, or I'm not 100% sure if it was CIV as well, they found out that there were bootleggers out there, and they went out and there was a big fight. There was a massive fight on the streets of Manchester. I missed all this. I must have got in my car, happy as Larry, and gone all the way home, not knowing anything about it until years later. Somebody mentioned, "Oh yeah, the fight." I could have even posted that flyer up on my Instagram, and someone said, "Oh my God, I remember that fight," and blah blah blah, and the Sick of It All guys were fighting the bootleggers and stuff like that, and there was a big brawl and all this, and I'm like, I missed everything. I missed everything. Home, in bed, tucked up in bed. Oh, hardcore, yeah. You know what I mean? Missed it all. Wow. To find that out years later it's surreal. It's surreal. But yeah, what a gig. Absolutely on the path. Haven't strayed from it since. And yeah, I had to talk about it because it was just, it's everything. This gig was the start, and wow, there you are. So there you go. Hope you've enjoyed it. My little entry into Sick of It All. Way, way, way. How long ago are we talking? 30 plus years ago. That's insane to think it's that long ago. Holy shit. Wow. But I can remember it like it's yesterday. That's the thing. Good events like this, good gigs, and brilliant live sets and stuff like that, and memories like that, they stay. They're still there to this day. I can remember it, man. It was amazing. It really was. Anyway, that's it. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we will catch you soon on the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves. Cheers.